So, Coach, this is Central Connecticut State now, and last year they played some freshman players with a lot of minutes. Olivia Keckler, an outside hitter, they had a freshman lib. Both played almost every set. What kind of progress do you expect to see when you're a freshman playing every set?
As a freshman, it's just gaining experience. A college game is very different from a high school or club world. So getting in there and getting to just take the beating, for lack of a better word, that you go through in playing games of girls that are 4 years older than you, and the jump from 17 to 21 is huge. They're smarter, they're more fit, they're strong. They've been in the world long enough to know how to get score points in tricky ways, and just thinking about the game more than you do as a high school or club athlete. So freshmen that get a lot of playing time get to gain that experience fast. So when they hit sophomore year and so on and so forth, it's all about gaining strength and just increasing their game to a whole new level.
So, you were at McNeese, you end up making your way to LIU. Does the game slow down at some point during those years?
No. At McNeese, it was very much a Texas-centered volleyball, so it's different style from kind of what I played in at LIU. East Coast volleyball versus West Coast volleyball versus Texas volleyball. It's the same rules and whatnot, but the games are played differently, strategically played differently. So at McNeese, it was very hard hitting. It was a very powerful game, very strong girls. And then at LIU, still strong girls for sure, but it's almost a little more game plan. Like we tip a little more shots and stuff. Whereas at McNeese, there's not many shots happening. It's hitting the ball as hard as you can against everyone.
Sounds fun, but you're going into your first year at Moravian, and then it's her second year at CCSU. But what's that first year kind of feeling like for getting in, strategies, culture?
The first year is all about getting to know your players and your players getting to know you. Um, every coach brings their own style, whereas there's rules to volleyball. Everyone plays them differently, right? About tempos, about what you call a set. You may call the one ball a middle fastball, one ball a B. There's so many things you can call them. So at first, it's all about getting to know each other, learning their style, learning what, from a coach's standpoint, what your players respond to. Are they in shape? Are they used to running certain plays that you like to run? What works with them best, right? And then from a player standpoint, it's about learning your coach. It's about learning what type of style they like, how to quickly adapt to a new style because volleyball is a fall sport. So you meet your kids, and then a month later, you're playing your first game. So it's all about adapting quickly together, trying to form chemistry quickly, and just going with what you got.
Joining us from hard hitting New Britain, we have Coach Broccoli, Olivia Keckler of the CCSU Blue Devils. Coach Olivia, thank you so much for joining us today. Okay, so Coach, this is year two for you. What's the next step for your program here? What does year two look like?
Leveling up. We're getting better. Obviously we've reloaded the program with 10 players. We actually had a mid-year transfer in January too, so we have 11 new faces on the court this fall. And we're really just focusing on the process, especially when we're in the gym. Our goal as coaches is to create a positive learning environment and really just focus on technical work, and one day at a time, and not so much the outcome, but the process. Or, what do I see for this year? Leveling up, just being a little bit better, every day, right? The process every day to get better and focus on our goal to hopefully, get to the top four of the conference, right? And make the postseason.
Olivia, it's year two for you too. What does leveling up look like on your end?
Actually implementing what coaches want us to do now that we have a year more with them, knowing what they want us to do.
Just to get off the court for a second, Coach, you have this history of not just having winning teams. You've had lots of those, but you have a long history of these all academic teams as well. So there's a balance that you're able to create. How do you facilitate that? Why is that so important?
Important because obviously we're, like the main goal when you go to college is to get a degree. So I respect that. Obviously, I honor that. And I can't take all of the credit, obviously, because, mostly at this institution that I've worked at, there's a lot of support academically. We have an academic advisor. We have the center, which is just for student athletes, so they could focus on their academics. So the fact that I have so much support on that end has helped with this program. But, truly, I just respect that our kids have goals other than volleyball, right? So we just find the best way to avoid class conflicts when it comes to practice and to games. And prior to the season starting, I will sit down with our advisor and do a lot of analyzing of their schedule. This way we can just avoid missing class and avoid missing practice. And obviously there are classes that need to be taken by our students. And, if it's only offered in one section and they have to miss 45 minutes of practice, it is what it is. So, and then obviously I reiterate to them that they need to be transparent when they need some help. I'm here to help them, or at least find the answers to the help. And I think kind of creating that safe space to be like, Coach, I'm really struggling in this course. I think I'm failing right now. What can you do to help me? And then obviously I can point them in the right direction. So that's always my goal, is just to be, a source of support.
Stepping back inside the lines, Olivia, you were an NEC Player of the Week, Rookie of the Week last year, had a really strong showing against Holy Cross. It was 13 kills, 4 blocks. Part of that freshman season is you get to show those flashes. What do you have to do this year to, kind of take that next step?
Just working well with the new people. There's a lot of new people here to help us be successful, to help me be successful. So I think just taking advantage of that.
So, Coach, one of the things I like to do is always look through the schedule. And one of the things that's really fun for me is Central Connecticut is on the road. They're on the road until September 17th. So I like those opportunities to kind of build chemistry. What does that opportunity give you in your program in just the second year?
Teams, I mean, granted, in the past, I'm sure we've played these programs, but there's a lot of teams on our schedule this year that we didn't play last year. We also, for the first 3 weeks, are playing Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I really like that we're not playing 2 matches in one day. That was my goal when we signed up for these tournaments. Some coaches wanted to do that, and I said, no, I want to make sure our kids get some rest. So I think that's going to be helpful rather than, having a back-to-back game in one day. Some of the days we're playing at like 12 o'clock and we're going to have all day to recover until we play again the next day. So I'm excited. Obviously, playing a Big East team like Seton Hall, and then obviously, within that weekend, NJIT, Iona, I think those will be good for us. And then obviously like the first weekend, Stony Brook, we have Stony Brook, we have URI, and we have Siena. And then third weekend, sorry, I'm bouncing around, is Providence, and obviously too, like, it'll be nice for these kids to kind of explore. Like, we have a lot of kids from the Midwest who maybe have never been to Providence, who have never been to Long Island, right? So it's cool for them to be able to play in the gyms that they've probably heard about some of these teams for many years. So,
yeah, and Olivia, I'm glad that you don't have 2 games in one day, because you played a lot of sets as a freshman. You're close to 90 sets. Whenever you look back at having that much work, is it something where you can see yourself improve throughout the year, or are you only able to see it now looking back at here's a play that I'm not able to make before, here's something that's slower than it was before?
I definitely think it's way easier to look back now and see the progress than it was like in the moment, especially getting all the training in the weight room and like getting all the reps in the spring. Just like knowing now what, like, comparing myself to then, there has definitely been a lot of improvement.
Sure. And just what does year 2 look like for you that makes a success? With Olivia, if I could start with you, what does that look like for you?
I think just improvement, just like doing things that I couldn't do last year, and then just trying to help make my team better and helping them get better, helping myself get better, and then just overall as a team being better.
And Coach, from your end, you've you've coached in a lot of places that have made a lot of tournaments. You've taken a school to the postseason for the first time ever at Drew. What does year 2 success look like for you in this program?
Make the postseason tournament. Obviously, we didn't have the best showing last year. We had a very small roster, not a lot of depth, a lot of injuries. And now this year we have quite a bit of depth in each position with quite a bit of experience. Out of those 11, we have 4 transfers. And then we have some really successful freshmen coming in. So, success for us, obviously, getting better every day, producing better volleyball players, right? Giving the kids a good experience. And then, we want to get to the Final Four, and I really think that we can. So Final Four in the conference would be the goal. Eventually the goal is to win a ring. So
you got to do one before you do the other. So the steps are in place. We're looking forward to a big jump out of hard-hitting New Britain this season. Coach Olivia, thank you so much for your time and for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, AJ.